नेटफ्लिक्स के साथ आपने क्या प्रोजेक्ट किया था?
अब इसकी मुंडी मुड़ गई है, देखो।
स्क्विड गेम्स की डॉल जो थी वो बनानी थी।
FC Sri Lanka, you did a commission artwork for them. Why have you never worked with any art gallery?
It's more easier
Yeah?
to start on the street than to do it in a gallery.
Fuck you to life and choose art. Do you think that graffiti and street art exists?
Slowly, a lot of people have worked very hard to create these examples.
I don't even encourage or even entertain them. 20 रुपए फुट के हिसाब से लाके वॉलपेपर खरीदो.
These guys are free. They die hungry. Change is that an artist who comes out of college should know where to go.
Nandi in a funny, quirky way. You paint a Nandi with another gau kissing each other.
Now he has to focus on मुझे मालूम है मैं TCS टाटा जा सकता हूँ.
India only has 2% collectors.
India has very less serious collectors.
Industry and artists commercialize art.
The process of painting, this is not to impress anybody.
3 simple steps.
Graffiti artists don't reveal their real name.
The GD Goenka incident. What was that about?
A client got the work done
Yeah.
and he didn't want to pay. Throw a punch in the face. The artist might not go legal. I am going to go legal. Take down the post. Nobody who is going to pay. Honesty shows. All their artwork pays off.
Has that affected your art journey? Talking about cancer.
Every artist starts by copying. मैं क्या हूँ? I was 22 years old. My best years of my life was spent in a hospital. Slowed down walking disorder. My physical state has nothing client to think ये काम नहीं कर पाएंगे. I didn't stop even marketing myself. It not just comes from the heart.
What are you passionate about?
400 को respect करते हैं. उससे पूछें what is that? मैंने AI use नहीं किया है.
Hello, welcome to yet another episode of The Heartful Show, where heart meets the art. Today, the guest who I have here needs no introduction. He's, I think, one of the most promising artists India has ever, India has. He's a graffiti artist, a promiser, a promising artist, and someone who creates hope in the industry. He just not paints walls, but he also inspires people. He's a TEDx speaker and an entrepreneur and a change maker. He's a cancer survivor as well. So today we have an inspiration and a prodigy sitting with us, Kartikey Sharma. Hi, what's up?
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Thanks for waiting for so long. You've come all the way from Pune. So how are you doing, Kartikey?
I'm good.
So, I'll tell you how the Heartful Show goes. We're going to talk about some really fun and, funky stories about your life, about art in general, and about certain controversial topics as well. So, Kartikey, for all the people who are listening to you for the first time, why graffiti? What do you do? Why graffiti?
So see, today I'm actually not a graffiti artist. But graffiti is a very important part of my whole art journey, or rather the actual beginning. That is because I don't think I had any name or any identity when I was starting. Also because I was pursuing engineering.
Yeah.
And the history of graffiti itself is to give identity to people who don't have an identity otherwise. So they write their names on the walls and they make their presence felt, right? So that concept of artists actually going against all rules and regulations and making a place for themselves without any help was a big inspiration for me to start. That's why regardless of how my career has shaped, I have not left that name of Kartikey Graffiti.
Fortunately,
or however, I'm sure many other graffiti artists don't agree with the fact that I should consider myself a graffiti artist, but that's okay. It's a very emotional thing more than anything else. And the fact that graffiti itself stands for not following the rules. So if I'm breaking any more,
exactly.
it doesn't matter, right?
In art itself, I think that there shouldn't be any rules as such. I mean, whatever we are taught, we are never taught how to do a certain art form. It's always impromptu and something which you create and a genre you create. But engineering and art, like these are two different, they are poles apart. How did art come into the picture?
So engineering and art are not poles apart at all. Okay. Everything that you touch, feel and work with today, including the mic, the watch, the phone, it's all art.
Agreed.
Every engineer who has ever produced anything that had value came out of art. So what is art? Art is something when you create something that doesn't exist and you put a little bit of yourself in it, right? That's the basic essence of art.
Agreed.
And that's what every engineer does. When the first car was made, when the first phone was made, when the first bulb was made, it was creating something that never existed. So I don't consider those two things apart at all. In fact, any profession where the person is um, giving his soul or her soul to it becomes art. Like being a chef becomes art,
Yeah.
rather than like
Yeah, that's what
all
beats,
kinds of people.
there's a fine line. There's a famous thing that there's a fine line between an artist and a cook. So a chef is an artist basically. He's not a cook. What is the difference when he puts his soul and he puts his own flavor and his own view to it, then he becomes a chef. Otherwise he's a simple cook, what he's been doing.
Yeah, so like I was saying, when I was in engineering, I actually was very good at it, but I don't think I was passionate enough to become an artist of an engineer.
Mm.
I also saw many of my other friends who were real artist kind of engineers, who would spend their days making a car out of a bike engine.
Mm.
And, they were very passionate and very creative in their approach. I moved from the stream of engineering and taking a job to art because I have a belief that anything is possible. And I think that came over the years. But when I was during my engineering days, I was doing an internship with Thermax. So it
Yeah.
was a 6 months long internship. And there I think I decided that if I am going to work hard, I would do it in the field of art and not in
Was it a
engineering.
big emotional jump? I mean, considering we all belong to an Indian family or Indian families here. So they have a very different mindset when it comes to switching, a professional stream to something to do with art. So do you think it was a big emotional jump?
It was a very big emotional jump for sure, but I am not the kind who follow anybody else's advice or path. Or I mean, it's gonna sound extremely rude, but I don't give any importance to anything else, anybody else who's thinking for me.
Agreed.
So I'm the kind of person who might listen to everyone and take everybody else's experience through books or elders or friends, but the final decision always mine, and I am a very decisive person. So if I take a decision, I will stick to it.
Hmm.
It might take 1 month for the results to come or 10 years. I don't care.
What made you say, fuck you to life and choose art? Like, was there a turning point where you said, okay, this is what I want to do? Like, engineering is not my cup of tea, or maybe 10 years down the line, this might be my backup, but art is something which I want to get into, or street art is something I want to get into.
There was a time when during engineering when I was not in good terms with my family because of my views on how to live my life and how
Of course.
general
It is,
views
yeah.
and my
It is
inclination
art.
towards art also. I think one fine day when I decided that I am not going to live by anybody else's rules, I think it was third year college. I stopped going to college altogether.
Oh, fantastic.
And then I did all my exams together in the final semester.
Hmm.
Failed one,
Hmm.
passed 49, close to
Okay.
close to 40 odd. How many ever exams I must have missed by then? But yes, that was the exactly what I was trying to say. I'm a very decisive person. I took a decision and then I had to go through with it. I am not a person who keeps a backup. Either it's going to happen or I'm going to die trying, but it is going to be that.
Fantastic.
I
Yeah, that's
because I don't I can't do two things at the same time.
you
You know,
done
if
that.
I'm here, then I'm here. That kind of helped to do the kind of work or the kind of industry I'm in because you need to be like that. And I learned it from the best. No, I started reading books about businesses, and in the business you might want to learn everything. Becoming a jack of all there, that I completely agree with. But everybody had a whoever did well in their career, no matter if they were actors or businessmen or painters or whoever, they had a vision and they didn't keep a backup for themselves.
They didn't. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they all have to start somewhere. But yeah, in the back of the mind, 90% of the successful entrepreneurs and business oriented people, they don't have backups.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, take SRK also for that matter, who's the biggest superstar in the world. He didn't have a backup. So you're right. I mean, when you know that you have something to fall back upon, I think you do not succeed.
Or you do not give your 100%, or the desperation decreases something or the other. I mean, I'm sure there are different ways to look at it from different perspective. I can only talk about myself. I always thought that I didn't have the bandwidth to think about a backup.
Fair enough.
You know?
But talking about graffiti, do you think that graffiti and street art exists, or I mean, did you see a future of it in a country like India?
We are in that future. This question was asked 15 years ago. When we were starting, did my first wall in 2010.
Hmm.
At that time, this was a question that does it have a future? Of course, now today we are in that future. There are
Yeah,
over 200, 300 artists who I know. I don't know how many that we are not aware of, because we all live in our own small bubble, who are sustaining their lives by doing what they love, and
which is street art.
it's a career. Yeah,
Why am I asking is because, being in the art industry is why I come across a lot of graffiti artists as well. Now, though, fortunately, we are seeing a lot of not graffiti per se, but street art. Like you see the metro pillars getting painted, this and that. But why did I ask that question? Because this is something which people are not. I mean, they are averse to it. People are not comfortable with it, probably because they don't understand the language behind it. And number two, government regulations, because the government works on a very different tangent altogether. So, have you ever faced any from getting government approvals or something of that sort while doing certain projects?
getting government approval definitely is a barrier, because they have they have their views, or they are right. They're actually kind of right. They have to keep a check on a lot of other people's sentiments, and not trying to hurt anybody. And I understand that's all right. And they also have their own theme.
Hmm.
But the fact that things have changed, government is giving more and more permissions than before. They're also realizing that artists today are not so adamant that they want to make just what they want to make. Even artists are understanding that, there's a balance. Because it's like, the easiest way to explain this is, people do commercial movies to earn money, and then they do
Yeah.
the film that they want to do because their heart, isn't it? So artists also do that now. Artists design as a designer, not as an artist, for a purpose. And government is also
Commercial one,
allowing this
yes.
a lot.
Yeah.
Earlier, when we were starting, I remember a lot of meetings, a lot of government officials. It was difficult to convince them, because it's like a client doesn't know what they want, honestly. So there was no examples of what we were talking about.
Hmm.
Slowly, a lot of people have worked very hard to create these examples. For example, Start India has worked really, really hard
Yeah.
since 2008, 9. I don't know when. I think it was way before when I even started considering this as a career. They were already working on making it popular, in the sense making the government and the citizen realize that this is a form of art. And they kind of paid the way, they made examples through whatever struggles they had. And they took the control of design also. That was tremendous, very
Have you
appreciative.
ever had an incident with any politician or the government, a memorable one where you said, I mean, shit, man.
I've had meetings, I have had rejections, nothing memorable. That's a very normal part of our life. Probably had lakhs and lakhs of rejections, but
Hmm.
yeah, nothing important.
Any incident where you've done a wall and you've painted a wall, and then after that, they would have to whitewash the entire thing, saying that this is trash.
Yeah, that's happened a lot. So that's happened in
Yeah.
two ways. One, I painted over a already government wall, which was not in a very good condition, and I was doing my clean and paint Pune drive, where I was trying to clean the walls. So because it was already painted, but it was looking
Of
bad, I
course.
tried to repaint it. But somebody's sentiment got hurt,
Hmm.
and they were very aggressive towards me,
Oh, wow.
to a point that I think they wanted to break my face, because I painted over something that they loved a lot. So instead of fighting with them, I think I painted what they wanted it in the original sense, and then continued with my
But this
wall
this
mural.
is the exact difference why I was asking about India versus world, because you've traveled the world. So there, that I mean, even though we claim and aggressively claim that we live in a democracy, but there are certain cultural barriers which, of course, you must have been through, and you agree that there are cultural barriers and they're part of life. So I mean, do you think that hinders and rejects and stops you from doing what you love?
No, no, it doesn't. See, this is also a very big misconception, honestly. If you are just talking about abroad, abroad is very big. There are different kind of countries everywhere.
Yeah,
There are different kind of countries with different kind of people, different kind of cultures.
yeah,
Now, this incident that I was talking about, somebody got offended because his sentiment was involved with that painting, right? It'll happen in any country whatsoever. It's very personal. If I'm going to paint a wall which I don't own, like we know, we tell each other that New York, or we are referring to
yeah. Because
America when we're
Europe, yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah.
you
I
know,
mean Europe, because Europe also has a lot of graffiti. London specifically.
that okay. If we talk about Europe side, if it's somebody's wall or government wall or a public wall, if you write something or make something that is going to hurt somebody's sentiment, that person will or will not. For example, if they do retaliate, it's the same situation that happened with us. We just feel like there is more freedom there because we're sitting here. It's the same. So if somebody is getting hurt and they choose to retaliate, they will retaliate in any country. It has nothing to do with India.
Yeah, I mean, it has nothing to do with India, but what I'm saying, there are a lot of cultural barriers. This incident specifically, okay, agreed. But, especially in art, because I don't think that there's any boundary. Otherwise, if there's a boundary, it's not considered to be art. Because we also sell paintings for a living. So a lot of times we've had customers say, oh, how can a Nandi be red in color or something of that sort? There's a lot of cultural barriers here. So I'm talking about those barriers restricting our way to do an art form for that matter. So that is
No,
specifically what I'm talking.
explain me what is that question?
For example, if you're doing a wall, okay, and you paint say a Nandi in a funny, quirky way, and someone gets offended, that is your art form. You paint a Nandi with another Gau kissing each other, and that hurts people's sentiment, and that actually, because over here we have so many cultures and so many religions, and it hurts that cultural barrier. What do you do?
Firstly, I won't do something like that.
Exactly.
Okay. Also, because my art form is not about anything else but me.
Hmm.
Most artists are like that. They are very self-centered, and the whole point of being an artist is to give out what's inside you. Secondly, if at all my subject was Nandi and I was doing whatever, I was painting whatever I wanted to, and somebody's sentiments got hurt, then it's a personal choice. You want to fight it, you don't want to fight it. But if your question is that cultural scenario in India restricts artists from expressing themselves, I'm not very like um I'm not in support of that answer. People have over the past so many years found ways of expressing the same sentiment by taking risks sometimes, by not taking risks sometimes. Some artists still are there who are taking risk in the sense they don't reveal their identity
Yeah.
and still paint whatever they want to
Yeah.
paint. So it's what you are after, you know. It's if you are after fame, you'll have to make some compromises. If you don't care, then you won't have to make
True.
compromises.
But
You have
yeah, I mean, that's
consequences.
why I was asking graffiti or street art, because over there
Yeah.
open to the public. I mean, in
Now,
the public eye.
so many graffiti artists don't reveal their real names or their real identities for the exact same reason. I think that's a good thing. They should do it. They should do it like that because then they can be as honest with their artwork as possible, which I certainly can't and I don't. If I'm so see, if you're going to talk about me, I don't see art right now. I don't see art as just an expression for me. Okay, I had decided good 12 years ago that I am going to make money only through art. This is the journey I'm going to
So
take.
you're
That's the
straight from a
decision.
commercial angle.
So I was sure that I will have to do a lot of things for other people. Now, most of the work that I do is commissioned.
Yeah.
I would say like 90% of the work that I do is commissioned art. When it is commissioned art, I am giving a service.
Yeah.
So
It's
I am listening to the client. Then when all of this is done, I do my own thing. And there obviously I don't listen to anything.
yeah, of course. Then why do you care?
But there are two aspects of this. And
Which are
no, these are the two
yeah, two
aspects that
aspects.
artists will paint for others and then artists will paint for themselves. In both these cases, they can paint whatever. See, if you are saying if an artist is painting Nandi in a different light, if he doesn't show it to anybody, who cares? Because then he is painting for the joy of painting and not for any result.
Yeah, that is what I'm saying. When you start commercializing is when I was talking about.
Or maybe when you
Yeah.
start painting it for others, then there will be consequences. Then you will adjust. If you don't adjust, then you'll bear the
Of course, you
consequence.
bear the consequences. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That if you have ever faced such an incident or such a
Apart from that one incident, never honestly. I'm not very big on trying to get famous.
Hmm.
Okay, so I don't care if people don't see my work.
Talking about famous, I mean, let's talk about Pepsi. Pepsi Sri Lanka, you did a commissioned artwork for them. You did the walls there. Tell me about that incident. I mean, that entire experience.
It was a good experience. Pepsi Sri Lanka wanted artists, I think, from many different places
Yeah.
or different kind of artists. So they contacted almost the whole industry. Honestly, it was not just me. There were more than 10 different artist groups or artists who were representing, and they were painting in Sri Lanka. It was very cool. I actually got a very small wall,
Hmm.
so I had no pressure and I had a lot of fun. The crew was great. Pepsi employees are amazing. We had a great time. Yeah, it was kind of like a easy project to do.
Do you know how many projects, I mean, how many walls have you done so far?
I
Yeah.
lost count like
Wow.
many years ago.
Wow. Wow.
I think not 5, I would say like 2 years ago. We
Oh,
used to count projects, but now what has happened that my whole system of work has become in a way that now there are too many people working for Paper Plane. That's
yeah,
my
paper.
company's
We are
name.
going to talk about that eventually.
So, and I don't take credit for all the work that's going on. It's
Yeah.
always the artists who are
Yeah,
doing
of
it.
course, of course.
Because my work mostly is to get the design sorted and get the vision of the project sorted, and then the artist actually goes and executes it. So now I don't know how many projects I'm actually doing.
Fantastic.
So, and maybe that's a good thing.
Why haven't you ever, like, you've always chosen the street or commission projects over galleries? Why have you never worked with any art gallery per se?
So see, in the beginning it was a very logical decision.
Okay.
So I just did simple math. If I'm going to buy a canvas, buy paints, and paint something and then try to sell, I'm already putting in money.
Hmm. Fair
Okay.
enough.
If somebody is commissioning me to do an artwork, he's going to give me advance, and then I'm going to use that money to buy the supplies and then sell the artwork, which is pre-approved.
Hmm.
It just made business sense.
I'm just gonna contradict and stop here. Don't you think? I mean, see, art is all about you see what you buy. I mean, of course, you need to see a painting or an art form before you buy a painting. So in commission works, 90% of commission works are, oh, you just have an inspiration or a picture and then you end up painting something out of it. So people are paying for something they're not seeing. So don't you think that making something and then selling it is much easier than painting something which is not even seen?
So, see, in my experience, it was not. Now, imagine you're starting out, this is your first painting.
Okay.
Nobody cares. But to buy that, I have to spend at least 5,000 rupees. I
Hmm.
don't have that 5,000 rupees.
Hmm.
I got to paint my first few walls on college fest budget.
Oh, wow.
That became my portfolio. It was a long wall. So even if I took pictures every 10 feet, I could show a very large portfolio. That's how I made my first portfolio.
Fair enough.
So now the clients who I was approaching who didn't know that painting a wall is actually a thing, because back then it was not, when they started seeing that, they knew I had some skill. Then they would give me a concept and I would sketch it on a paper. And then there was pure trust. If the artwork is not satisfactory, he'll keep making me edit it,
Hmm.
or else I won't get my final payment.
But don't you think that is also itself a journey? Getting your first client and getting them to trust you is a different ball game altogether.
It is, but it is certainly much
Mm.
more easier
Yeah.
to start on the street than to do it in a gallery.
And then you eventually came down to canvases as well.
I had to do canvas for myself. I mean, it's your own space, right? I'm sitting alone in a room and
Idle,
then
yeah.
doing it, and so that's like meditation, and that's my own thing. So I was eventually going to come down to canvas, but see, it was an ikigai. What you're good at, how will it pay for you, and then
Tree.
how it is going to pay your bills, and then you won't get bored for the rest of your life. Or that complete made sense in street art, and not just street art, but painting for cafes is what started to pay.
Cafes, schools. We will also talk about the GD Goenka incident. I really want people to know what happened, what went south. So what happened there? Yeah? I mean, Kartikey. Wow, man. I mean, Pepsi. I'm pretty sure that they, of course, did wonders. And then talking about incidents, I also, I mean, came across when I was talking on Instagram the GD Goenka incident. What was that about? Funny, but I want people to know.
It was not funny at all, honestly.
I mean, funny. Imagine that people like this also exist.
Yeah, it exists. It was, see, it was a very simple case that a client got the work done
Yeah,
and he didn't want to pay. That is all what it was. But I am somebody who doesn't really take shit from anyone.
of course. And
So I was not scared to go on social media. And I think that was, instead of going to the police, because I knew he would be powerful and he would also use his sources. So I thought social media would be an ideal thing. And also I think I had some kind of vengeance because I don't like bullies at all. And I think that's what was happening. He was trying to bully me. I've had bullies all my life, and I think my immediate reaction to bullying is I'll throw a punch in the face. Which
did you throw a punch in the face?
I think putting it on social media was that. I've never met that guy. It was my team who was handling it. And he was absolutely obnoxious about the fact that I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. And one day when we couldn't take it anymore, he he was like, now I'm not going to pay because you spoke to me like that. Well, that's very convenient. That's extremely convenient कि अभी तुमने मुझे गुस्सा दिला
Oh.
दिया, अब मैं नहीं पे करूंगा. अगर इतना ईगो है मेरे मुंह पे पैसा फेंक के मारो.
Actually,
I'm very happy.
all फेंको.
इंस्टाग्राम पे उनके उनके आई थिंक उनके बेटे थे, वो मुझे मैसेज कर रहे हैं कि इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील फॉर मी टू गो लीगल अगेंस्ट यू. इफ इट इज नॉट अ बिग डील देन पे अप एंड गेट इट ओवर विद.
Yeah,
आई थिंक इट बिकेम प्योरली अ ईगो
clash.
problem than anything else, and it's just sad. It was supposed to be a simple
And
transaction
a
without
reputed school.
and without any there was no conversation required. We did the job, you pay up, it's done. This whole conversation is utterly useless. Also, let me clarify, GD Goenka's name has been used, but it's a school that is a franchise.
Of
The
course.
people operating it is somebody else. So GD Goenka really doesn't have anything to do with them. It's the guys who took the franchise, their responsibility. The guys that I have mentioned in the post, which I am forgetting the exact
You
name.
don't even remember such people's names, yeah.
But yeah, it was their responsibility, and I don't blame GD
How
Goenka
did it
at all.
happen? Like, you did a project with them, of course. I mean, you took an advance, you start painting, and then they, of course.
See, the biggest failure was to agree to not do paperwork, okay, which we do in all of our projects. These guys requested that we'll pay in cash. We accepted because they generally felt like okay people.
Yeah.
And whenever the client suggests that we'll pay in cash or we'll pay the labors in cash, we try to not really fight it, because most of our projects are in PO, and if there's some extra work which is not in the PO, they'll pay it in cash. And it's a thing in India, right? We do that. I don't take up projects without paperwork for the exact same reason. And this one time that I did, it happened. Another lesson that I don't even should have exemptions from that rule of my own. It's like I read about this years and years ago that you choose your client. I chose the wrong client and I'm suffering. But I'm very sure that that guy is going to pay up one day.
No, he will. And
He will.
I'm
Because
pretty sure.
either something is going to happen or he'll realize it himself.
No, I hope he does. And I think, yeah, and as you rightly said in the post as well, it does not even make sense to go legal also, because who gets involved in such, like, you end up paying the lawyers more to get what you deserve.
See, I think he also knows it. And that is why they can afford to do this and get away with it, which I'm extremely, extremely against. So this is pure bullying. Because he knows that artists might not go legal, he's okay with doing it and then throwing a legal notice at me, which had 17 grammatical mistakes. But it did. So I am going to go legal if it doesn't get resolved soon, because that is exactly what he's trying to take advantage of. The second advantage was that he thought I'll get scared by the cops. So when the police called, he thought it was okay because the police didn't discuss the situation. He called me and said, take down the post. I said no. That's all. Now, if you are going to go legal and if you are filing a case of defamation
Then
against
even
it,
I should have,
then if the court says I'll take it down.
of course.
If
Who
I
are
am
you?
going the legal route, then why will I take it down? Because you are asking
Joaquin.
somebody to call me and scare me. I think he didn't have any idea that I won't get scared. Firstly,
No, but
then
to be honest,
what
good learning lesson. And yeah, this has happened with everyone. It's happened with us as well. So number one thing we've also learned is that whenever we are doing something, see, because art is a service. Okay, when you're doing commission works, always take 100% advance. Yeah, this is so
100% advance doesn't work. It's 50-50 or 70-30 mostly.
my side, fortunate case, it has worked. I don't know if it works with wall art or graffiti. I don't know how it works. But in our case, when we're doing commission work, we have. If you don't want to give it to us, it's fine. You can walk away. But we have these 2-3 rules because where are we going to run away? I have a physical space. Why will I not give the artwork because I have more to use out on? So I mean that is something which we've.
I think
made a
that's
note
just
of.
from time to time. Maybe in the future, I'll be in a position to accept 100%
I
advance,
think
and nobody
Kartikey
will
Sharma is
question.
still in a position. I think he's a good name.
No, I'm not in that position, and I think I'm okay with the terms because the guys who are our clients, most of our clients, 99% of the clients are honest. They're nice. They respect themselves enough that they don't like cheat. They follow the contract to the T, and that also puts us in pressure that we don't lag. If we know that our client is going to pay in advance, we are more stressed because now we have to perform better than what we promised. So yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And I don't think my name is that big that for a commission somebody might give 100%. Somebody might like my work and buy it off. That's still possible. You might.
No, hopefully we will. But let's talk about good stuff, yeah. Kartikey Sharma, that name itself, like, what is the purpose of Kartikey Sharma when it comes to art? What is your vision?
See, when it comes to art, I have a very specific idea, specific vision that has been constant since ever since I started. I was sure that the kind of artists that people know about have a different image. These guys are free. You know, they're considered to not care about their clothes or their food or their habits or the time or discipline, and they sometimes become very big or else they die hungry.
Hungry, yeah.
I wanted to change that completely, and I think like me, many others in this industry have brought about that change very successfully in the past 10-15 years.
And change that how?
That's what I was coming to. The change is that an artist can be disciplined,
Yeah.
can work like it is his regular job, 9 to 5 job,
95, yeah.
can pay all the bills on time, can look a certain way, like how the rest of the people look
Yeah.
and feel, and still be a serious artist. I want to make the Infosys of art services company firstly. That an artist who comes out of college should know where to go, where he will use his skills to earn money because he is trained to do to make any sort of artwork, any theme that is given to him. And because he will be able to pay all his bills on time and he'll be able to have a sustainable life, he can paint for himself or make art for himself whenever he wants.
That's his.
So the life that I created for myself, I want that to be for everybody who's associated with paper plane. Because it took me over a decade. But I can paint for myself whenever I want, while I'm also doing commissioned artworks.
But that has also, I mean, taken a lot of time. Donkey years, it's.
Yes, but it need not take a lot of time for others, right? So whoever has started to join our company as artists, and these guys are young, they're just out of college, they do commission projects every month. And in between those projects, they paint for themselves. And they're free to do so. They're free to take any project they want to. There's no binding contract. But that gives them a freedom that once they understand that there's a company who's already making an ecosystem where there are clients and there are artists and art as a service, and the client also expects a certain quality, and the artist also can deliver the certain quality because of their training. And we have done the rest of the ecosystem, to do the right paperwork, to be able to receive a certain amount of money, to pay all the taxes on time to the government, to establish a company, to do our due diligence with artists and everybody for the clients. The clients has done their due diligence on us. Our GST should be sorted, MSME certificate should be sorted. All of that we have done.
Like a legitimate company.
Like a legitimate company. When we have done the organizational stuff, the artist knows that he is welcome here and now he has to focus on only what he is good at. And since the very beginning, that was my vision, that I am going to create a company which is for engineers. How it is कि मुझे मालूम है मैं TCS टाटा जा सकता हूँ, कोई भी आर्ट स्कूल से निकले उसको मालूम चाहिए पेपर प्लेन जा सकता हूँ, मेरी लाइफ सॉर्ट हो जाएगी.
काम करने के लिए. And that is exactly what something also similar to what we've also been doing, because art per se has always been sold as a notion, and this is why we emphasize so much on art education, because the laymen and the people who are buying art do not know this. Like, I think India specifically, when we read about this, India only has 2% collectors. 98% of the people who are investing, so-called investing or buying art, and do not know anything about art. To be honest, there's nothing to know about art. But the industry and artists themselves, I'm not blaming anyone here, they've created such a big facade, no, and a big fad that art is a notion, it's an experience, it's not a product. You're not buying a canvas with acrylic paint or ink or something of that sort. It's an experience, or you're buying a journey.
Isn't that true?
So I think, when we talk about commercializing art, no, like we've been talking ever since we started the podcast, I want to commercialize art. And my vision, if you ask me, is all about, okay, at the end of the day, this should be a product. A customer walks into the gallery, it should be as simple as that. Three simple steps. They walk into the gallery, they see a painting. Does it suit their wall space? Does it fit the size if they want to put it behind the couch or in the living room or the dining room? Bus, khalas. They should just buy. Third is, of course, price point. Price point, I'm not even too, concerned about, because we don't believe in selling expensive art. We sell affordable art. So price also we negotiate with. So the customer is also happy. I'm also happy. The artist is also happy.
See, now you are exactly talking about how we see as art as a service, right? But the facade that you were talking about, that is not a facade. See, there are two aspects of the same thing. All right. Now, right now, you're trying to sell art as a decorative item.
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great because it runs the
Yeah.
company.
I don't even want to give it a tag. Like, I just want to be like, it's a simple product, guys.
Yeah.
It's not something which people, talk about without any knowledge.
But there's a completely different sector of art also, which is not a product, which is a
Yes,
story,
agreed.
which
I
is a
totally agree.
experience,
Yeah.
which is like a poem that it will
Yes,
touch people,
Agreed.
and people buy it for that. So it also depends on who's buying.
Agreed.
You know, it some people buy it just because it feels right and it makes them feel something,
Something they resonate with,
you know.
at the end of the day.
And some people buy it because they want to hang it somewhere. Both sides of it.
So to hang it also somewhere, then those are certain kinds which I do not do. So those people come with the perspective कि नहीं wall खाली है, मुझे रंग भरना है types. For those people who just want it as wall decor, as you correctly said, for them I don't even encourage or even entertain them when they walk into the gallery. मैं कहा 20 रुपए फुट के हिसाब से लाके wallpaper खरीदो. Why do I emphasize on this being a product? You need to resonate with this. Of course, if you don't like this, if you don't resonate with this, no one's going to buy it at the end of the day. So I'm somewhere in between. I'm bridging the gap between.
See, I completely understand that ideology. So it's like it's easier to understand in the sense of a movie. Some movies are only for entertainment. Some movies are for other feelings.
Yeah.
And we also have a mind that today I am not in a mood to watch a commercial film. Today I want to invest myself and experience something. Today I am going to watch a comedy movie because that's a different kind of experience and वो मुझे करना है. So it's like that, I think.
Maybe like a documentary. Documentary is only for those who are connoisseurs of that specific topic. So वो होते हैं art lovers. फिर वो आता है serious art में या contemporary art में, where there are those 2% of buyers and investors I'm talking about.
But I think I kind of can agree that India has very less serious collectors, and it's okay, it'll change. Or maybe Indian collectors are a lot, but they are not maybe visible to us.
This is something, it's a blessing in disguise as well at the same time, because I don't want serious collectors as well coming to me. I mean, in art industry itself, because yes, I would love to have a conversation about any piece of art, but at the same time I also don't want people to create analogies and stories which do not even exist.
Nobody does. An artist who is doing analogies and stories that don't exist, he will be caught. Nobody who is going to pay for an artwork or even appreciate an artwork, they're not stupid. Honesty shows, and dishonesty also shows.
Mm.
So many artists have worked for years and years and years and been honest to their work, and you see that one day all their artwork pays off in
Yeah.
real monetary value. It is because somebody has seen that honesty in them. And
Mm.
people who are phony, they they get caught, and that's the biggest dilemma with us, people like us who work commercial art. When we sit to do our work, which is when we sit to paint
Yeah,
for
paint, yeah.
ourselves, we better be honest, because if we are not, we are going to get caught. And even while I am painting, in the process of painting, that stroke by stroke, I have to keep reminding myself that this is not to impress anybody. And if you do it, you will get caught.
Thought.
And the viewer, the artist, the art collector, or the real person who knows what painting is, he will catch it. It'll be in the
Agreed.
soul of the artwork.
Agreed.
So that honesty will be there, and at least we
Yes.
try kids there. And that's why we don't take inspiration from other artworks or somewhere, because one day somebody will see it. That I was not being honest to myself. And that is the biggest dilemma in the whole art history also. If you read every artist's life story, whenever any artist has made it big, it probably has been later in their life for most of them, but it's also because it took so much time for him to be absolutely honest with his work.
And to
It
build a
is
genre. Yeah, I mean, they've created their own genres.
creating that genre is being honest to yourself, right? So it takes time, because in the beginning, every artist starts by copying,
Yeah.
or there's a reference. Every artist starts to learn from somebody else. And it's a long journey to discover yourself, while you also have to pay bills and also have to learn how to drive and learn this and learn that and cook food and go shopping and bring a family up and everything. And while you're also discovering कि मैं क्या हूँ.
Mm.
So generally that's why it takes more time. पर वही है, if you are not honest, वो दिखता है, but if you are honest, वो reward भी होता है.
Agreed. And now we were also talking about paper plane. I want people to know what paper plane is. You've briefly spoken about paper plane. Acha, kyun? Paper plane kyun? I saw a reel on Instagram where you were talking about it, but I want you to tell people why paper plane.
So see, paper plane, the name has two stories.
Yeah.
One is that when I was a child, I think UKG is when I remember completely. I used to make small paper planes on every page of my notebook in the class.
Of course.
So there was always a thing. Then my father used to be in naval aviation.
Acha.
So there was always a small memento of a plane in the house,
Mm.
But this name being paper plane for my company, this idea came during my second bout with cancer, because at that time I was very confined. The first time I think I was confined only for good 6-8 months, but this time it was over years. I was diagnosed 2016,
Yes.
beginning of 2016, so complete 2016, complete 2017, almost complete 2018. I was always confined in a room, or I was going from one room to another room. So paper plane is basically me. That I am confined. I'm usually indoors. I need a push to travel. I need some help. I'm fragile,
You're fragile yet you're flying.
like paper plane. But my destiny is to fly. It's not to walk or crawl. So that is why the paper plane was there. That no matter how fragile it is, his destiny is always to fly.
Beautiful.
And that fragile person or the fragile object doing the impossible was anyway the ideology behind my art journey or my life journey in itself. Paper plane fit completely perfectly to me.
No, it's beautiful. And yeah, I mean, talking about cancer, I don't want to sympathize or empathize. Oh, I want to empathize, not sympathize. Talking about cancer, you have fought it twice. Has that affected? I'm not going to talk about how the journey was. I don't want to talk about all that rubbish. But I want to talk about, has that affected your art journey? You've survived it twice, which is, and kudos to you and kudos to the doctors. But how's that been?
See, I think what the answer you or everybody else is expecting is that it changed me and made me a better artist.
Again, yeah, I mean, I want to
Yeah.
talk about your art journey
Yeah.
specifically.
So just for my art journey, I think cancer was actually a hindrance and not a boon in any way. I'd already had cancer once. I didn't want that to watch that movie twice. I didn't have to.
Yeah, of course.
So if cancer was supposed to be a story in my art journey, I already had it once. I already had that feather in the cap. Okay, so it was
Yeah.
twice is not going to make it better. I was in the best of my health. I was 22 years old, 22 years old, or 23 years old. I was going to live the best life. I could live on less money. I could do more work. I could travel more with less money. I had lesser responsibilities, very low rent. I had already left home in third year college itself. So
Wow.
I had no responsibility towards
Anyone
for that matter. I could have lived a very, very good life. And being the hard worker I am, I could have made my way through anything. And I had no preconceived notions कि ये नहीं खाना, यहाँ नहीं सोना, ये नहीं करना, ये नहीं पहनना. I would have been more free, but rather my primitive years, my best years of my life was spent in a hospital. So it was actually a big bane.
Yeah.
It was a big hindrance.
Yeah.
It didn't. It actually slowed down my journey as an artist. How much work I can produce in a month or in a small period of time. If I had been doing it since then, I would have made like double the amount of work that I've done. It also gave me a permanent walking disorder. I limp.
Yeah.
That's just absolute hindrance. There's nothing good about it. I can use it for sympathy if I want to, but
As I said, I don't want to.
that's not the kind of person I am.
Yeah.
Right. That's not the kind of person I am. I don't want it to be. I want to succeed on merit and purely on merit.
That's why I didn't want to go that
So I
route.
hide my walk sometimes, and also because I came into commerce of art, right? So the client needs a product which is of the best quality by the best person.
Yes.
If I reveal to clients that I can barely walk, I don't want it to hinder my performance, right? So whenever there's a problem, I make sure that the client knows that it will be done. My physical state has nothing to do with the quality of work that we are going to produce, and we produce very large artworks which need bigger cranes and scaffolding and longer working hours and working in sometimes in dangerous climate.
Yeah.
It's raining, sometimes somebody falls, slips. So I don't want that somebody thinking ki this guy is weak.
Bichara type.
Yeah, and I'm not even close to weak, Just because I can't walk properly, I don't want my client to think कि ये काम नहीं कर पाएंगे.
Sitting in the hospital, what were you thinking? I mean, was it like, of course, those were your prime years. मैं सोचा shit, my life is ruined. I wanted to work and I couldn't work. So I mean, and of course, you were getting love from all over the world that time. But were you working also that time?
I was trying to work as much as possible. So see, that also has a lot to do with my skills to get work done without leaving the room. To hire the right people, to make a good organization. All that came. वही है देखो अगर कुछ गड़बड़ होता है and then you make the best out of it वही है that's a very engineering attitude engineers are problem solvers
Yeah.
That's what we are tools to fix things,
Fix problems.
our mentality is like that. So training of engineering is very handy, and I think my life after that, I think after engineering, my life has been about thinking of how to solve a problem than cry over it. So I was working. I had already started my first company with other partners, and we were trying to get as much projects done as possible. I also need the money back then, desperately. So I was working continuously. I was also working on myself. I had considered ki, firstly, I had believed that I'm going to survive this. It was still on the last stage, but I still somehow had convinced myself that there is a door after this, and I have to be prepared for that. So I kept sketching every day. I kept painting every day whenever possible. I didn't stop at all. I didn't stop even marketing myself. Because I knew that one day I'm going to exit this, and that time should not be ground zero. I can't start all over again. Exactly. It has to be somewhere. If not the first step, half a step. So I was working really hard on not being out of sight and not losing the skill, because painting does not come from the heart.
Exactly.
It comes from practice.
No, wait. Don't contradict the entire existence of my show.
See, I'm not contradicting. It not just comes from the heart. It needs practice. See, I can imagine the most beautiful emotions. मुझे पेंट करना नहीं आता तो मैं कुछ नहीं बता सकता किसी को. A writer can have the best of the story, but he doesn't have the command on the language. वो कुछ जो भी बोलेगा कुछ समझ नहीं आएगा. सही बात. आबड़ा बजाबा.
सही बात.
That's what I was trying to say. That I can't sit on my ass now. I have the time and
Paper plane happened that time?
less distractions. Paper plane happened just after that.
Okay.
I left my first company because the speed at which I wanted to go was not happening with my partners.
Yeah.
I needed a new team, and I started from scratch making that team, which was fruitful because the art of elimination. No? I eliminated them,
Of course.
and then I eliminated many others who came on the way, and the ones who stayed are the ones who are running Paperplane now. Paperplane happened there. The vision of that company had already started in 2016, but unfortunately, that's the same time I got cancer. So the first company didn't work out, so I registered another one, which was Paperplane.
Kartik, I'm loving the conversation. I think we've actually spoken on everything about your life. I want to understand certain things when it comes to you as a person, as a human now. I mean, talking about, again, we were talking about mental health in our break as well. So, do you think that, I mean, art plays and your work plays a major role when it comes to getting that peace and sense of peace?
It does. It does. It does. Art, for me at least, it's the most rewarding process. I Everybody around me has noticed. My wife notices that the most. She says that I am the happiest when I'm painting myself. So art, and not the result of the art, but the process of the art is actually very, very rewarding. So it certainly has made me feel much
Evolve.
happier and at peace.
What does your bad day look like, and what do you do usually after that?
I don't think I have bad days.
You don't?
A bad day is where nothing's working out, right? That is a bad day, right? So, and those are usually like checkpoints in life. Supposedly, there's a project and it's the day of the submission, and nothing will go right that day. I'll be the most relaxed person
Hmm.
because I know that till date I was very, very anxious and anal about the process. Okay, now, the process has to be right. Once it's done, it's done. Then it's not in my hand. So bad days are like that. Usually the days you would think are good are the ones where I am the most serious and disciplined and anxious to get things done, and all of that. When our brain is running around. But
Have you
once
ever
it's
had
done,
one of
no.
those? Sorry.
I'm saying, but once the process is done, I don't care about the result. The day of the result, I'll be actually very relaxed. कि हुआ तो हुआ, नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ.
नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ. But have you ever had one of those days you just come back from work and you're just like, I just want to leave everything and just, maybe fuck off or just go to a different nation altogether and just chill?
No. इतना dramatic नहीं होता है life.
नहीं.
बिल्कुल नहीं होती है. There are times when I am quite fed up with the situation, but again saying that I'm the kind of person who look for a solution, right? So I look for a solution. If I'm fed up with the fact that we don't have money, I'll look for a solution. If I'm fed up with the fact that I don't have enough work, I'll look for a solution. And if I'm getting easily irritated, or if I'm getting easily mad, I look towards other forms of artwork. I read a lot, and reading is a very, very good form for me to stay calm and learn. And I apply my readings in my day-to-day life, and I pick books according to that. I pick books which will teach me something which I can use in my day-to-day work or in day-to-day relationships and situations. So I'm still evolving, right? I've
It's very
evolved
human.
into
It's very
into
human.
somebody like.
But have you had those days when you said, as you said that, oh, I don't have money today?
Oh yeah. I think I have that day once every year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Once every year, there's a dip where I'm thinking, what have I done? And why do I not have money after so many years of experience? But I also in the recent years have realized that everything works out. And not having money momentarily is just a commercial, it's just paper.
It is paper.
We are building value. So the more value that we are building, we as a team, the less anxious I'm getting about money. If we don't have money in the bank, I'm not very worried because we have created a value. I was always more concerned with the value. So when you have value, you're an asset. You yourself are an asset. So I used to have those days where I was very scared कि पैसे नहीं है. But in the past few years, जब पैसे नहीं होते हैं, I'm actually not that worried at all.
Because you've dealt with those situations.
I know कि हाँ, value creation है, तो कभी ना कभी आ ही जाएगा and it'll all work out. It always works out.
And you don't even look like a materialistic person who actually would spend, rubbish amount of money on
I
rubbish amount of
don't.
things.
I don't. I'm फाइट क्लब देख ली थी ना मैंने तो मुझे
I-
समझ में आ गया था कि कॉमर्स क्या है जबकि आई एम कि कैपिटलिज्म क्या है बट आई एम अ वेरी बिग फैन ऑफ कैपिटलिज्म इट एक्चुअली सॉल्व्स अ लॉट ऑफ इश्यूज it also gives a lot of greed so
yeah,
you solve the issues to be greedy reward system but at the same time in my personal life I am not very big on throwing money at things though I have a taste and I do buy a certain things
of course.
which I am passionate about but it's not that कि उसके बिना बिना मैं जी नहीं सकता
What are you passionate about? Are you passionate about watches or something?
I'm passionate about watches. I'm passionate, not that passionate about watches कि मैं मर जाऊंगा. But yes, whenever
Cute.
every few years or maybe every few checkpoints, if I ever gift myself or hope for a gift. अभी कुछ टाइम से तो मेरी बीवी मुझे गिफ्ट कर रही है watches. But उससे पहले when I bought my first and only watch, it was about the watch. I'm a big fan of vintage cars. I'm actually vintage cars is one, but I'm a very big fan of something that has had history. You know, I'm not a person who buys things that glitter or shine.
Hmm.
I think see it's the same thing. Why collectors buy art that have a story because it has a heart in it, right? So even my obsession with older cars, which are way old, is because they were majorly handmade. It has already had a story behind manufacturing, the story behind living with somebody else. It has a history, you know. वो
It has a
घिसी है
human
थोड़ा.
element as well. पहले तो ये होता था कि humans only used to do it. अब
हाँ.
machine made और ये सब बहुत वो आ गया है technology. But पहले का मुझे भी I'm a big fan of older stuff because of course they have history. Number two, they were all man-made and human-made. So that anything human-made is art. That's what you said initially. So that's what I think. अब मतलब वो चीजें ये Apple Watch और ये सब तो मुझे मतलब समझ नहीं आता था.
वॉच तो डिजिटल हो ही नहीं सकता.
हाँ वॉच तो कभी डिजिटल
That's not a watch.
machine.
That's embarrassment.
Correctly said. Correctly said.
Apple boycott कर देगा मुझे.
नहीं, I'm a big supporter of Apple, guys. Life is easier. But talking about technology, so I mean, now you are pretty active on social media, but I'm pretty sure that you again look like a person who's not even a big fan of social media. Are you?
See, I'm not a fan of social media also because I'm not crazy about getting famous quickly. I believe in creating value. Value takes time. I want to remain in the long run. I'm running a marathon. I'm just consistent. तो जो भी मेरे थोड़े से फॉलोअर्स हैं वो हैं जो मुझे बहुत साल से देख रहे हैं
वो क्लाइन है आपकी
और इसलिए वो ज़्यादा बढ़ भी नहीं रहे हैं क्योंकि कोई भी मैं इतना जल्दी काम प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर सकता जो मैं रोज कंटेंट डालूं काम प्रोड्यूस करने को महीने लग जाते हैं कभी कभी 6 महीने लग जाते हैं कभी साल भर लग जाता है
सही बात है
यू नो टू मेक समथिंग ऑफ वैल्यू तो मेरा इतना क्रेज नहीं है सोशल मीडिया को लेकर नॉट अ बिग फैन ऑफ मी बीइंग ऑन सोशल मीडिया जो मुझे मेरी टीम पुश कर रही है करने के लिए मे बी आई टेक इट अप आई एम गोना टेक इट अप इन माय ओन वे आई एम गोना टेक इट अप saying that I'm not interested in social media. I'm probably going to make fun of myself. I am not a big consumer also of social media. I think my wife is the one who pushes memes to me, which I think we kind of have a relationship.
because of that.
ठीक है तो उसके memes से ही मेरा algorithm बन रहा है, which is going absolutely crap day by day.
I think your wife is going to kill you because of this now.
Brain rot, बकवास. मैंने कल मेरी वाइफ को वॉइस नोट नहीं मैसेज भेजा था फोन ले लिया जाएगा आपका ये भेजते रहोगे तो बस वही है बाकी आई थिंक सी आई एम अ बिग फैन ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी अदरवाइज सी दिस इज नॉट टेक्नोलॉजी टेक पता है मेरे को क्यों पसंद है क्योंकि टेक को यूज करके ना मैं वैल्यू क्रिएट कर सकता हूँ
बट तभी तो ये डिजिटल आर्ट और ये सब NFT by the way I'm a big disbeliever of digital art and NFTs. Are you as well?
I'm not.
No?
See, you have to understand everything in depth and then make a decision. ठीक है पहले तो मुझे NFT की बहुत हद तक नॉलेज है बहुत ज़्यादा हद तक नॉलेज है मैं NFT स्टार्टअप का पार्ट भी था वेब3 स्टार्टअप का पार्ट भी था मैं वेब3 कम्युनिटी से कनेक्टेड भी हूँ सो इट्स नॉट लाइक आई एम not a believer in it. I understand the technology very well. I understand the use cases of it. I understand the advantages of it. So Web3 and NFTs have its own advantages and it is real. ठीक है. Now come to digital art. Digital art is also a boon to the art industry. See, there are we have to see it with this perspective. Art is art. ठीक है. अब digital art ने क्या किया है? It is another tool to make art. Art is expressing yourself.
Yeah.
ठीक है.
Yeah.
जब सिर्फ ऑयल पेंट से एक्रेलिक नहीं थे तो ऑयल से कर रहे थे, फिर एक्रेलिक आया. ठीक है. कैनवस पहले फ्रॉम रॉ बनता था, ऑटोमेटेड कैनवस बन के आने लगे. इट्स जस्ट मेकिंग योर लाइफ इजी टू डू द रियल जॉब ऑफ प्रोड्यूसिंग द आर्ट वर्क. और पहले का लकड़ी बनाना, कपड़ा बनाना, तो अगर इतना ही है तो ऐसा तो नहीं है ना कि आर्टिस्ट अभी हैंड वूल करके पहले कपड़ा बना रहे हैं, उसके बाद फिर लकड़ा पेड़ से काट के खींच के फ्रेम बना रहे, वैसा नहीं कर रहे हैं ना. It's just making your process easier to express what you want to express. फेदर से लिखने की जगह पेन से लिख रहे हैं, टाइपराइटर आ गया, कंप्यूटर आ गया, उसको सेव करना इजी हो गया. See, it's just making your life easier to do the main job of producing the art. So I'm actually a believer in digital art also. Digital art has done so well for a whole community of artists जिनको कैनवस नहीं पसंद है पर वो आर्टिस्ट ही हैं. उनको वो प्रोसेस नहीं अच्छा लगता है.
डिजिटल आर्टिस्ट,
वो डिजिटल आर्ट में कुछ भी बना सकते हैं, आर्टिस्ट ही हैं, है ना. वो कॉमिक्स बनाए या रियलिज्म बनाए या कुछ भी बनाए, उनके लिए एक और नया टूल.
बट आई फील हाँ उनके लिए मार्केट ही अलग है. I have a problem with the fact when those kind of people, I mean those people as well, digital artists try to get involved in the commercial industry as well. See, digital art.
Why do you have a problem with that?
I'll tell you why. Because art is all, the definition of art is unless there's a human doing it, it's not art. And digital art, that is my the perspective. That, but ऐसा ही है ना, मतलब वही कहते हैं ना कि कलमकारी या हाथ से जो किया होता है उसी को आर्ट कहते हैं. ये
ऐसा नहीं है. ऐसा किसने, कौन है जो ये कह रहा है? अगर आप आर्ट हिस्ट्री पढ़ना शुरू कर दो अभी से, ठीक है, और बैक इन टाइम जाओ, धीरे 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 करके सारे आर्टिस्ट के व्यूज पढ़ो, किसी को भी आकर रिस्पेक्ट कर दो. चलो अगर हम पिकासो को रिस्पेक्ट कर दो, उससे पूछें व्हाट इज आर्ट, वो कहता है व्हाट इज नॉट. अभी तो हम कह रहे थे ये फोन भी आर्ट है.
हाँ,
ठीक है, बटन दबाया लाइट जल गई, इससे बड़ा आर्ट क्या हो सकता है? बट वो ऑटोमेटेड है क्योंकि हमने उस वर्ड को ऑटोमेटेड बोला, उसके पीछे मेहनत तो गई है ना.
The whole process.
It is not. It is
clicking a button. And
it is about creating something. Is what is art. How you created is then your tool. है ना.
Fair enough.
क्योंकि फिर ऐसे तो पुराने ऑयल पेंटर्स, एक्रिलिक पेंटर्स को बकवास बोलते हैं कि तुम लोग पेंटर्स ही नहीं हो क्योंकि तुम्हें वो महीनों का प्रोसेस का एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है. पर एक्रिलिक ने ही क्या कहते हैं, मॉडर्न आर्ट को जन्म दिया. उससे पहले इम्प्रेशनिज्म ऑयल में शुरू हो गया था. एक्रिलिक से बेटर हो गया इम्प्रेशनिज्म. हम लोग जल्दी ज्यादा प्रोड्यूस कर पा रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको आर्टवर्क इन द मोमेंट बनाना, कि अभी जो मैं फील कर रहा हूँ मैं एक्रिलिक में बना सकता हूँ, क्यों जल्दी सूख जाएगा. मुझे वो सदियों फील करने का जरूरत नहीं है टू गिव इट माई ऑनेस्ट इन ऑयल. टाइम्स चेंज, टूल्स चेंज, आर्ट चेंज, इट्स ओके. इतना रिस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं करना है. सिर्फ रिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑनेस्टी के लिए होना है. मेरे हिसाब से आदमी अगर ऑनेस्टली बोल रहा है जो उसके अंदर है, वो कोई भी टूल यूज करे. वो जूता बनाए वो आर्ट है, ठीक है. उसमें कोई सीन नहीं है कि सिर्फ हाथ से ही करने वाला आर्ट है. दिल से करने वाला आर्ट है और ऑनेस्टी से करने वाला आर्ट है, ठीक है. हाँ, हमें स्किल डेवलप जरूर करनी पड़ती है वो करने के लिए. अब लोग क्या चूज करते हैं टूल स्किल डेवलप करने के लिए, वो उनका चॉइस है.
That is exactly what I'm saying. Because what happens is that there are certain tools, and as you said, कि ठीक है, fair enough, that is also a different lens altogether. What everyone is seeing it from. कि when machine does it, there's AI involved. There's a lot of other tools which are involved, which actually come in the process of making that typical digital art or NFT. So I'm not even going to get into because I don't have much knowledge. So that's why. So there's a separate industry when we talk about the digital world, where we're talking about graphic designing or illustrations, where it is only being used online, it's fair enough. But when you start commercializing it and selling it in people's houses, I think that is something, and people are paying absurd amounts for it. That is when I feel that why are you paying absurd amounts for it when it's all made on a device?
No, I don't agree with you on that at all. Because when people are buying that and it is on a device, and people are spending absurd amount of it, they're not spending for it being a cloth or a paint. They're spending for the thought behind
it.
The originality of the thought maybe, or the story that he is trying or she is trying to convey. Like I'll give you a very beautiful example of this. Avatar.
Avatar.
It's absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Completely made on digital. But there's a vision that he could execute because it was digital, that he finally got the tool to do it. Probably that story remained with him since he was a little child. And only when he's very, very old, he got the right tool to make us experience something that was in his head and to the T, to the detail.
Yeah, to the detail.
So
One
if somebody is going to buy a digital painting, he is buying for the brain that went behind it and not the tool that they have used, and the buyer is right. You know?
But again, sorry to interject. I'm questioning the brain only. Don't you think the authenticity of that artwork gets questioned?
No, why does it get questioned? It's just a different tool. If the artist is using his original brain and is painting
How do you
honestly,
आपने देख लिया है कुछ भी डिजिटल पेंटिंग आप और मतलब आपको पता नहीं है व्हाट
अरे गूगल इमेज सर्च यार
हाँ
पता नहीं
मतलब
क्या है इतना
Google
बड़ा इंजन वो भी आर्टिस्ट लोगों ने ही बनाया है जो इंजीनियर के आर्टिस्ट हैं कि यू कैन मेक अ सर्च इंजन यू कैन सर्च एन इमेज
search
व्हिच
any
हैज
image,
एवर
yeah.
बीन ऑन ऑनलाइन तो ठीक है दैट्स इजी टू सर्च it's always see it always comes down to how honest the artist is when people are not honest even when they are using AI
Hmm.
even if they are making an artwork using AI if they are honest that I've used AI they still have respect then the other person asks them कि prompt क्या डाला
हाँ.
what are you thinking कि
Fair.
तूने इतना अजीब सा कुछ बनाया है यूजिंग अ न्यू टूल बट व्हाट आर यू थिंकिंग प्रॉब्लम कम्स व्हेन द आर्टिस्ट सेज कि मैंने एआई यूज नहीं किया है
ओरिजिनल आर्ट है ये.
और मैंने खुद सोच के इमेजरी खुद सोच के टेक्स्ट ने और हाथ से बनाया है वो क्लेम करता है तो जो बाकी आर्टिस्ट हैं जो सदियों से झगड़ा कर रहे हैं अपने साथ
ये मैं
अपने अपने मन के साथ अपने स्किल के साथ वो चिढ़ते हैं क्योंकि उनका चिढ़ना जायज है उनका चिढ़ना ये जायज है कि हम गधे हैं कि हम ऑनेस्ट हैं कि हम 10 साल तो मुझे सिर्फ स्किल सीखने में लग गए 5 साल से मैं कॉन्सेप्ट सोच रहा हूँ उसको एग्जीक्यूट करने में मैं 50 गलती बना रहा हूँ और मैं ऑनेस्टली बोल रहा हूँ कि मैंने हाथ से किया है और तू नहीं बोल रहा है इसलिए वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट आता है आना भी चाहिए पर अगर मैं एआई से बनाऊंगा ना मैं बोल दूंगा मैंने एआई से बनाया है एक तो ये भी है कि मुझे मेरे आर्टवर्क से रिजल्ट नहीं चाहिए ना जो मैं जो मैं क्लाइंट्स के लिए कर रहा हूँ वो रिजल्ट के लिए कर रहा हूँ मैं तो खुला बोलता हूँ मैं डिजाइन नहीं करता है मेरे पास और 2-4 लोग मेरे साथ बैठ के डिजाइन करने के लिए कि उनमें वो स्किल है जो मेरे में नहीं इसलिए तो
Yeah.
टीम में है
सही बात आई अंडरस्टैंड
मेरे पास वो क्विकली वो टूल वो स्किल नहीं है
I have the
बनाने का
the luxury of actually I mean taking someone else's expertise as well.
या एंड आई एम एब्सोल्युटली ऑनेस्ट अबाउट इट मेरा कोई भी पोस्ट देखो उसमें आर्टिस्ट इलस्ट्रेटर सबके नाम इसीलिए हैं बिकॉज वन दे द क्रेडिट इज ड्यू वेयर इट इज एंड सेकेंडली आई रियली डिडंट हैव एनीथिंग टू डू विद द पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस जिसमें वो इन्वॉल्व है यू नो
Agreed.
आई कैन वर्क लाइक अ डायरेक्टर बट मैं सिनेमाटोग्राफर नहीं था मैंने कैमरा नहीं पकड़ा है मैं दीवार पे नहीं चढ़ा हूँ यू नो तो जब तक मैं ऑनेस्ट हूँ मैं सेफ हूँ और फिर मैं जब अपने लिए करने बैठूँ तो मैं खुले दिल से आराम से बिना किसी स्ट्रेस के कर सकता हूँ
I agree.
इसलिए मैं ओपनली बोल सकता हूँ कि AI है
This part I agree. If the person is being honest about it, कि if he's using any form, any digital this and that, then it makes sense. But that is exactly why I had I had a disbelief about the industry because a lot of people are not honest about it. They claim certain things which are not even supposed to be claimed, and when we find that out, they shy away. They're like, हाँ ठीक है मतलब people are going to say shit either way. So why do I even give into this and actually give a justification? Anyway, that's their perspective. But do you think that artists per se, irrespective of the tools they're using or the genre they're in, do you think they get exploited in the industry in India?
यार everybody in every industry gets exploited at certain point on the other and they don't get exploited once they are more aware and they understand the industry and they are less naive. It's a learning curve. Artists are getting exploited. We are trying our best that that doesn't happen. That's why whenever there's a project where a difficult client is involved, हम खुद deal करते हैं. We don't let any artist get the hard part of it. Like for example, if we don't get paid, we make sure that even if slowly we pay the artist at least. कभी कभी हमें टाइम ज़्यादा लग जाता है क्योंकि हमारे पास खुद के से स्पेयर मनी ऐसे पड़ा हुआ नहीं होता कि किसी क्लाइंट ने लाखों पैसे नहीं दिए तो मैं कहीं से डाल दूँ आई एम
वो ही नहीं सकता
वो नो इट्स डिफिकल्ट समटाइम्स बट वी ट्राई कि उन तक ना पहुंचे बट ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई और उनके साथ नहीं करेगा वो उनका लर्निंग कर्व है एक्सप्लॉइट होते हैं और मुझे लगता है हर इंडस्ट्री में हर कोई एक्सप्लॉइट होता है
what
दैट्स
how
नेचुरल
do we
ह्यूमन बिहेवियर
that is. But why am I specifically talking about the art industries? Because again, going back to the conversation which we had, that there is a balloon and a bubble that art industries like this, art industries like that. Number one, number two, there's not awareness about how things go about in the industry. That's exactly why we're doing the podcast as well. So we are telling people that this is a certain way and a path through which this is what happens while making a piece of art. So do you think because of that also people get exploited? And how do I curb this issue?
Yeah, see, it's good that you're doing these podcasts and generally also creating awareness. I think that's the first step to do it.
Hmm.
You, as a person or as an organization, remains honest. I think that's the second step to do it. And it's only slowly going to happen. I think this has happened with every industry. We know, for example, breakfast Kellogg's was introduced
Yeah.
for
Baby.
capitalism.
अच्छा मतलब.
It was not needed,
Hmm.
right? They made an advertisement that said कि breakfast अभी यही खाना है, यही breakfast है. Over the years, we know कि advertisement is not truth. It took time, you know. That awareness came out of many years. आज कुछ नया ऐसा है जो हमें नहीं मालूम है कि सच है कि नहीं, and people are getting influenced.
Get conditioned.
है ना?
Yeah.
It's only time. It's only time, and many number of people like yourself and many other galleries, hundreds and hundreds of them, who slowly are educating people, and then there'll be less and
Then
less
you
of
have to
these.
condition.
You can never finish this problem. It's only going to get better. तो वो तो होगा. This awareness you are doing, some other people are also doing. There are Netflix series about the art world. There are other YouTubers about how the art world functions. वो कर रहे हैं अपना अपना सब अपना अपना कोशिश कर रहे हैं.
नेटफ्लिक्स के साथ आपने क्या प्रोजेक्ट किया था?
यार इट वाज अ वेरी सिंपल प्रोजेक्ट. हम लोगों को स्क्विड गेम्स की डॉल जो थी वो बनानी थी. इट वाज अ फाइन आर्ट कमीशन नेटफ्लिक्स के लिए. नेटफ्लिक्स का नया सीजन आने वाला था और उसमें मच बिगर टीम वाज वर्किंग ऑन इट, जो पूरा प्रोडक्शन कर रहे थे उस प्रोमो का, वेयर दे गॉट इन्फ्लुएंसर्स टू प्ले द गेम ऑफ रेड लाइट ग्रीन लाइट
अच्छा.
लाइव वाइल ऑन कैमरास. एंड उसका जो सेटअप बना था उसमें से वो डॉल का हिस्सा हमारे पास आ गया था. बट इट वाज अ वेरी बिग टीम का एफर्ट. EO2 EXP कंपनी का टीम था, वो मेकिंग द होल वीडियो, एंड दे नीडेड आर्टिस्ट टू मेक दिस.
ओके.
उससे पहले नेटफ्लिक्स ने हमें काल्की के लिए एक रियलिस्टिक म्यूरल बनाना था विद मेन कैरेक्टर्स, उसके लिए बुलाया था. तो ऐसा था वो इट्स अ बिग टीम दैट्स डूइंग इट. वी डू द फाइन आर्ट्स वाला पार्ट इन इट.
Do you enjoy working with such big enterprises or do you prefer small commission works?
I prefer whatever is paying.
That is the most honest and blunt answer I've got.
Yeah.
But do you find any hindrances when working?
No. A good client is a good client. If it's a bad client, doesn't matter if they're rich or big or small company, it doesn't matter. Good client, which is a small company, is equally good as a big client who's a honest,
Honest person.
good client. Well, it's very person to person, पता है कई बार ऐसा होता है in big companies, the guys who are handling it has nothing to do with the money, right? It's not their money that's going from their pocket. They still take more time and they are still rude to us sometimes. It's very personal.
Yeah.
हर आदमी अलग होता है.
सही बात है.
किस्मत से मुझे हमेशा अच्छे क्लाइंट्स ही मिलते हैं. 99.9% तो अच्छे ही मिलते हैं. May either I attract them or I am a kind of a personality. So probably the guys who are handling such big companies, they don't want to mess with.
But you give that no bullshit kind of attitude as well. So I mean, I think people get that as well.
I hope I'm giving no bullshit, but without the arrogance. I hope I'm giving that because I just want discipline in your word. Because I am very disciplined with what we promise. That's all I want from a client. पर मेरे साथ ना बहुत कम होता है कि क्लाइंट मेसी हो. यूजुअली सब स्मूथली काम करते हैं, अपना काम करके निकल जाते हैं, कोई किसी को दिक्कत नहीं रहता है सच.
Perfect. No, but so I mean, today's conversation though has opened so many doors of mine as well, and I think it's been one of the most fun conversation. And I'm not saying this only for the podcast. I think we've had wonderful debates as well. That we had a debate about digital versus physical art as well. So I mean, we are moving towards the end, of course. So I'm going to ask you. So we do a heartful moment where we do a rapid fire session as well. But before that, I want to ask you, what has been your most heartful moment?
In art or in life?
Heartful.
General?
It is very subjective. So we've left that terminology onto you. So you can perceive it to be whatever you like it to be.
I think the most heartful moment in the past so many years, I would say, was the day of my wedding. I think.
Oh wow, beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be my answer. It was the day of my wedding.
That's changed your life 360.
One, it has changed my life quite a bit. I have a very energetic person around me, Ria and Daku.
Shout out.
Shout out, Ria and Daku. Two women. Daku is our cat.
Okay, I didn't know this. Of course.
So they both are extremely energetic. My wife is very. She's an opposite energy to who I am.
She's an artist as well.
She's a chef. She's an artist of that kind. But she's been a restaurateur, and that's what she is. She cooks every day like her religion, and she cooks every day. And she that's what I tell her. Ki, I've seen you cooking in so many years now, and in the few years now, but she cooks like an artist, bro. It's her.
Of course.
Like it's as good as making a painting.
Yeah,
very passionate.
Yeah, you do it every day.
Like then every ingredient will matter, and if it's not good, वो फेंकने वाला है bro. If she's not satisfied, then she's not satisfied. Then she'll have to make it perfect. So she takes it up as art.
Oh, wonderful.
But yes, that did change my life for the better. I think I was completely missing that childlike energy in my life. Because I am not that person at all. I was born 55 years old and वैसे ही चल रहा है मेरा उसके बाद. I've always been old. But her childlike energy actually makes me realize a lot of things in my day-to-day life. Like how she enjoys the little things in life. And she celebrates everything, and I celebrate almost nothing. So while I don't enjoy the little things, I don't enjoy the bigger things also.
Yeah, true.
Like
that is so true.
You could give me every achievement I ever wanted, and I'll still be
just indifferent towards it.
Or yeah, looking like a old growling man.
One more question: where do you see yourself when you're 60? I mean, 65, 70.
Well, probably on the same chair that I sit on every day. I don't have any different vision. See, whatever I wanted to achieve as a person, I have. I wanted a peaceful life. I wanted a loud Punjabi wife. Yeah. I wanted to have the freedom to do my work when I want to, at the speed that I want to. I wanted a very good team who supports my vision. I got that also. I am getting to travel as I wanted. I'm healthy.
Touch wood, yeah.
I want to sustain this.
And you have nothing to prove to anyone. Do you want to prove anything?
I have proved everything I ever had to prove to everybody. See, it was never about achievements in work that would have made my point. It was always about making myself a better person.
Better, of course.
And giving myself the life that I wanted on my own terms. That was the the point to prove. It was never about how much money I make, because nobody knows, or how much I spend.
Yeah.
That also nobody knows. It was never about that. It was never about the accolades or the newspaper articles or the awards or whatever जो मुझे मिले हैं और नहीं भी मिले हैं. It's never about that. It was just about मैं कैसा इंसान बनने वाला हूँ आगे जाके और मैं कैसी लाइफ जीऊँगा. That I've proved.
Beautiful.
अब मुझे बस इसको सस्टेन करना है, ऐसे ही जीना है. जहाँ तक कि पैसा कमाने वाली बात है, if that is something if that is the part of the question, I will make a hell lot of money. I know that. Because it is the byproduct of the kind of value I'm trying to create. उससे मैं पागल नहीं होने वाला हूँ. It's not going to change me. Because if it does,
as you rightly said, it's just a byproduct. It just defines your. Success. At the end of the day, as you said, it's paper. But you think validation hota. I think it's a form of validation. When you're getting money, कि मैंने अच्छा काम किया types.
It's actually utility.
As utility.
छोटी मोटी चीजें जो हैं जो handle करने में तुम्हारा time waste होगा वो पैसे से sort हो जाती हैं तो you can do the real work. Great advantage to have a lot of money. I want a lot of it. I will get a lot of it. No doubt. But मुझे कोई proof नहीं करना किसी को कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. मुझे एक और I think it's a gift that whenever I need how much ever money, it somehow comes to me.
That's a blessing.
if I need a flight to go somewhere, it'll be there. If I need food, it'll be there. If tomorrow something bad happens which can be solved by money, I am sure some money will come in my lap and I'll be able to solve it.
Fantastic.
So I have that relationship with money. I never have too extra, I never have too less. I always have just enough to for everything to get done.
Balance it up.
And more than me, the team that we are building, I want even them to learn sustainable living. With especially the relationship that they have with money should be long term and not quick fame and quick this thing.
And this is exactly what financial freedom is also about.
Yeah, it has to be. It's a long run, bro. It's the art career has to last good 50-60 years.
Yeah, of course.
उसमें कुछ प्रूव करने के लिए और मैं अपने आप को जानता हूँ मेरा ग्रोथ इतना स्लो होने वाला है ना मुझे पता भी नहीं चलेगा कि मैं कहाँ जा रहा हूँ इट्स नॉट गोना बी ओवरनाइट एट ऑल टिल टुडे आल्सो इट वाज नेवर ओवरनाइट कि मैं सुबह उठा and I was very famous, so I was
Yeah, I hope that also happens someday.
I don't think people who play the long game उनके साथ कभी भी ओवरनाइट सक्सेस होता है वो होता है और उनको महसूस भी नहीं होता बिकॉज वन स्टेप एट अ टाइम और व्हेन एवर दैट 60 में व्हेन आई थिंक आई वुड बी वेरी वेरी वेल्दी लाइक अ रेनोयर और अ पिकासो मुझे फील नहीं होगा शायद
And I hope that happens.
I know
hope
it'll
it's that
happen.
stage. And I think you still be the same humble and indifferent human that you are today. So that is, I think, is a blessing, and it's a compliment, guys.
Thank
so,
you.
So I hope that happens. So quickly, so we are gonna, ask you the heartful section, which is a rapid fire, which we've prepared. So, answer it in the spur of the moment. Engineering or entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship.
Spray cans or paintbrush?
Both.
Bigger canvases or walls?
Walls.
Or Instagram feed?
Walls.
Any day. What would be your autobiography be called?
It is called It's Not About Cancer. I've written a memoir, yeah.
Yeah? So, of course, it's not out. But
it's out. It's only for collector. I'm not selling it.
Really? Please
I can
send me
gift
one.
it to everyone.
Please, I would.
I can ask my team to bring it this week, maybe.
Yeah. Please send it across. I would. What's it called?
It's Not About Cancer.
It's not about cancer. Wow. What does that talk about? If you can just tell me.
Anything and everything you search on the internet about me will be about how cancer and how cancer this and how a cancer patient painted for 100 walls and this and that. But everything apart from that is what made my life as an artist. And I said that was never a boon. It is also actually a smart play to catch attention.
Yeah, it is also. India or Europe?
India, bro.
Of course. Desi art, traditional art, or modern art?
Art is art. Anything can touch me.
But what is your take?
I am a surrealist. I like I'm attracted towards surrealism because again the art of creating something that doesn't exist is very catchy. That's why I talk about Avatar. That's why even my movies references are surreal mostly, like Source Code or Looper or 15 Park Avenue. That's an Indian movie. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
In artist, Rob Gonsalves, Dali.
Oh wow.
Dali is everybody's favorite, but MC Escher for that matter. Everybody who's creating something that doesn't exist attracts me more. वो देसी भी हो सकते हैं, non-देसी भी हो सकते हैं.
Fair enough. This I think I know the answer to. Art for purpose or art for fun?
Fun, bro.
Yeah? Yeah. I was thinking the contrary.
मैं इतना सीरियस नहीं लेता हूँ.
नहीं. मुझे लगता है बहुत सीरियस.
अपने पर्सनल आर्ट को मैं इतना सीरियसली नहीं लेता हूँ. I love the process of making art and that is fun. It keeps me happy.
Fair enough.
So it is for that. It's not an intention to change the world. World will change on its own if all of the artists remain honest to themselves.
Beautiful. What is more fun, negotiating permissions or sneaking in to paint?
Neither, bro.
Have you ever snuck in and actually?
I never had to, honestly. I've done that कि मैं पेंट कर रहा हूँ illegally और पीछे से पुलिस आई है और रात को पूछे तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो और फिर ऐसे कैन फेंक दिया कहीं पे और एक स्टेंसिल था वो नीचे जमीन पे डाल दिया खड़े हो गए उसके बाद उनको रियलाइज नहीं हो रहा है कि ये स्टेंसिल है और फिर थोड़ा वो उन्होंने बात की एंड देन
भागे नहीं
चले गए. नहीं, एक बार पुलिस वालों ने बुला जरूर लिया था कि क्योंकि मेरी गाड़ी गलत जगह पार्क थी तो वो उन्होंने नोटिस किया, उन्होंने देखा कि ये लोग कुछ पेंट कर रहे हैं तो जरूर हुआ था. मैं भागा नहीं हूँ, मैं लंगड़ा हूँ. वही एक काम तो नहीं कर सकता.
ये okay, shit, I was not supposed to laugh on that, but yeah, no, but I know what you mean. हाँ, क्या भाग नहीं सकते, बट यू नेवर गन। सो क्या हुआ था उस टाइम? कुछ
कुछ
नहीं।
नहीं, वो बात करते हैं, तुम्हें बोलते हैं कि मत करो, फिर चले जाते हैं।
अरे कुछ पैसे वैसे का कुछ नहीं हुआ।
महाराष्ट्र पुलिस नहीं मांगते यार,
हाँ, महाराष्ट्र पुलिस तो
वो बहुत कंटेंट, उनको उनका अच्छा चल रहा है।
उनका अच्छा लगा है, ये मैंने देखा है। वन वॉल फॉरएवर, पुणे और पेरिस।
पुणे, पुणे हो, आई वुड लव टू पेंट हियर।
What is the best part about Pune?
It's that you can start from zero, and there you will find a client who will support you, or people who will support you. That's brilliant about Pune.
Hmm.
If I had started in Bombay, it would have been more competition and more cutthroat,
Yeah.
killing kind of a competition. While Pune felt like everybody wanted me to succeed.
Wow.
While Mumbai, it would have been a fight against everyone and not just my fate. Pune was a
Pune
fight.
is a bit more intimate for sure. That is something.
Pune was very supportive, and Pune has literally given me everything that I have.
Yeah.
So it will always be Pune. Paris, I'll go for a week maybe, but I would prefer here.
Pune.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mumbai though, everyone actually is after your throat. Spray cans in hand or mic on TEDx.
Spray can, spray can.
What was your TEDx talk about?
TEDx talk was about being stoic.
Okay.
That was the topic.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think most of my story in TEDx was about being very grateful, having the persistence to do what you want to do, and despite a lot of failures. I think it was more talking about how much time I failed than successes. I also kind of have very few success stories. It's mostly been a little up from a very big down, and then a further deep down and the little more up. वैसा ही होता है.
I have this line which I tell everyone. So I'm a musician. So this is a line I've created, creating my success story every one note at a time. So I think in your case is creating your success story one ball at a time. I think that's what you're doing, and that's beautiful. Anyway, paint stains on hands or tattoos on skin.
Paint. I don't
Are
get
you a tattoo
tattoos.
person? No,
I'm not a tattoo person.
no, not a tattoo person.
I'm actually not a lot of things that people think artists are.
No, but you don't even look like a tattoo person.
Hmm.
I also don't, but I love tattoos. I don't know. I love tattoos for some reason. Hip hop beats or chill lo-fi while painting.
Chill lo-fi, Hans Zimmer, Hawkeye.
And it
मैं तो आजकल बीथोवन और मोजार्ट और
Seriously?
चॉपिन सुन रहा हूँ, विवाल्डी सुन रहा हूँ.
seriously,
पागल हो गया हूँ.
seriously.
मैं यूरोपियन क्लासिक में चला गया हूँ क्योंकि इट इज लॉन्ग सेट्स
Yeah.
where you can be in the same rhythm for long, and then that rhythm
Always.
changes, your mood changes. I think I want to learn about it enough that I can either appreciate it or comment about it. तो अभी मेरा learning process चल रहा है. First few months of exploring classical, and I think मैंने hip hop तो छोड़ ही दिया बिल्कुल.
Hip hop तो I think वो age के साथ भी छूट जाता है. I also don't like hip hop. NFTs, digital art or canvases, physical art.
Amongst the three of them, canvases,
Second choice.
street.
Oh. Social message or purely aesthetic? Do you do work for social messages?
Both.
Yeah.
It's very time to time. Sometimes the need of the hour is to do purely aesthetic. Sometimes the need of the hour is for a social message.
Is there a message that you're trying to portray across, generic message that you want to?
The generic message that I want to portray is actually that impossible is achievable. That's the only ideology that I've followed. Everything I'm talking about always comes down to this only.
That nothing is impossible.
That impossible is achievable. My point of doing larger and larger murals is actually to instill a feeling of कि ये कैसे किया और ये हो सकता है तो हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. First to myself,
And
क्योंकि
then
प्रोसेस में इतने इन्वॉल्व होते हैं, खत्म होने के बाद रियलाइज होता है कि वी हैव एक्चुअली डन दिस
कर
आल्सो
दिया
नाउ. And to anybody who's looking at it, I have a story that I always tell people to justify this thought, is that once I saw it in a movie. There was a kid who was trying to make a jetpack to fly.
Okay.
Somebody asked him ki kyun? Why do you want to do this?
Hmm.
He said, imagine you are standing and if a kid just flies by, won't you start to believe that anything is possible?
Wow.
And that's the only thing that I have been trying
भी
to
सोचता
prove
हूँ
with everything that I do,
कि
is
impossible.
just to achieve the things that we usually think are not possible.
And you have. I mean, I think your work speaks louder than your
I
words.
hope it does.
You and I'm sure it does. Last, inspiration from nature or from people?
Both. I think I'm very invested in how nature is looks, symmetry, not symmetry, And then I'm very inspired by what people have already created.
But you like symmetry? I'm
In a way, I love to break symmetry while symmetry exists.
same, yeah.
It's like first I'll have to understand symmetry to break it. So
Hmm.
if you see my work, it has a lot of symmetry while I'm also breaking it. Like I'm trying to break that rule, but I have to first understand it.
How to
So that's when I take inspiration from architects. I'll take a lot of inspiration from architects.
yeah.
And not in my work, but in the process that architects take inspiration from nature a lot to build their environment. I take an inspiration from artists that from architects in a way that architects have created, given a form to a thought. Architecture is so beautiful. What is I think I just saw it in this movie Brutalist. He explains architecture. Somebody asks him why architecture. He says, "What is the most perfect way to describe a cube other than the form itself?"
Wow.
The architects actually will make that cube in physical, and you will be able to see it from all angles and touch it and feel it. So architects do beautiful work, bro.
Yeah. And not necessarily a cube always. Even if they're making a cube, they will
It's an
create,
example.
yeah.
But Zaha Hadid ka kaam dekho, very inspired from anywhere and everywhere. And it's a physical, big,
Built.
massive object, which from there, engineers have built it, civil engineers. So see, it's engineering again comes
Again.
down to art only. So yeah.
Beautiful. So I mean, that's the end of the podcast. I mean, the questions. But
Thank you.
thanks. नहीं अभी तो एक दो question पूछूं. Kartikey, why do you love speaking in podcasts and do you like talking about your journey?
Yeah, more or less, I think this is my first podcast. I I'm not a person who would talk a lot
Yeah,
about my journey also. I am being forced to.
I didn't, guys. It's
I'm being
probably
forced
his
to.
better half who must have. I didn't. और
No.
क्या था उसका नाम? Cat का?
Daku.
Daku. Or am I after Daku?
I'm being forced to be more expressive
No,
in this podcast.
that's good.
No, I'm not somebody who would talk a lot, and I like marketing the product because that's a part of the job. It's a part of our work. But I am not very keen on getting famous or anything. तो मेरे को इतना कुछ चुल नहीं है कि मेरे को जाना है, हर जगह बात करनी है, सबसे बात करनी है, मैं किसी से बात नहीं करनी है.
Fair enough.
मुझे कोई ना बुलाए, ना ही बुलाए. कोई बुलाए तो आई विल बी वेरी थैंकफुल. हाँ, बुला लिया हम आ जाएंगे, बट ऐसा इट्स नॉट द नीड.
So, what is one thing that you want to, I mean, just tell the next generation, and what is one message when it comes to art? What do you want to tell them?
So when it comes to art, I'll only say what I've learned from our seniors. It's grit. It's a long-term, persistent work without anybody watching you, without anybody pushing you, without any results expected or needed. It's the years and years and years of hard work, complete grit कि मैं यही करूँगा चाहे जो हो जाए, बस वही रिजल्ट्स लाएगा. दैट इज द ओनली वे थ्रू. बहुत साल पहले मैं जे स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट्स गया था, एडमिशन तो मिला नहीं था, और डायरेक्टर से मेरी एक बार बात हो गई थी क्योंकि मैं उनके ऑफिस के बाहर बैठा ही रह गया था. उन्होंने मुझे एक बात बोली थी, कार्तिकेय तू 10 साल सर्वाइव कर जा कुछ भी करके, बैग बोरो स्टील, पर तू 10 साल कुछ और काम पकड़े, ऐसे तैसे आर्ट में सर्वाइव कर जा, फिर देखो रिजल्ट आने लगेंगे. मेरा 12th ईयर चल रहा है. उन्होंने कहा तो वो बात हमेशा याद रहेगी. अब मैं अपने नेक्स्ट 10 इयर्स गिन रहा हूँ. अब 8 और साल करना है, फिर और 10 साल करना है. तो मैं बस वही एक एडवाइस देता हूँ, सब कुछ भूल जाओ कि स्टाइल है नहीं है, कनेक्शंस हैं नहीं है, पैसा है नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. कुछ भी डिसाइड कर लिया है, लगे रहो बस उसी से रिजल्ट आता है.
Do you have any regrets in life, Kartikey?
I don't have any regrets in life.
One thing you might want to change?
No, nothing.
Something about your college, maybe. Well, engineering was beautiful, as you said, though.
It was not beautiful, it was troublesome, but I don't want to change anything in my life. I have learned from my mistakes. I have thought about my life and actions for really long time. I'm a firm believer in peace and contentment, and I make sure that I get it.
Maybe the fact that your parents supported you more.
I don't give a shit, bro. I didn't give a shit back then. I just didn't have enough money to
Actually,
survive. तो कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आ रहा था, बट मैंने ऐसा भी नहीं कि घर से लिया हूँ या मैं रिग्रेट कर रहा था कि घर से नहीं आया, नहीं कोई बात नहीं. दैट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ द जर्नी आई नीडेड. It's very easy for me to cut off crap for my life from my life because I've experienced it doing with my own family, which is the most difficult to do, right?
it
अपने
is
सर से बड़ों का हाथ
most.
निकालना is the worst thing that a
Yeah.
person can do, especially in India, right? क्योंकि वो फट जाएगी उसकी एकदम. He'll be very scared. तो वो fear तो निकल गया, and that is, of course, that has given me a lot of other learning. Right? I choose my clan. It's not like I don't have father figures in my life. I do. It's not like I don't have mother figure in my life. I have. And those names are very big names, in fact, and people who have already accomplished not just professionally but in their personal life also. These guys now are my mentors,
Nice.
and not in the work I do, especially
In life in general.
in life in general. And I now look up to them. If I ever have a problem
One.
where I need an advice from an elder, I do have that elder in my life. ऐसा नहीं है, वो बस blood related नहीं है ना. क्या हो गया? So I don't regret anything.
Beautiful.
It really made me the person I am. मैं obnoxious हूँ नहीं हूँ, मैं arrogant हूँ नहीं हूँ, मैं humble हूँ नहीं हूँ, जैसा भी हूँ मैं at peace
Acting
हूँ.
तो कहीं से लगता नहीं है, but हाँ.
I'm at peace. वही चाहिए था ना मुझे बस.
One word for you, I think, which I would give after this podcast is you're indifferent towards things, which is, I think, it's a blessing. You need to tame your mind so much to have that trait, but you're indifferent towards 90% of the things which happen around you.
Yeah, I think even I think that that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Or maybe I achieved it, or maybe I've achieved it right now. I'll have to re-achieve it again in the future. But yes, I think that helps. That helps a lot. बहुत सारा कचरा निकालने में बहुत help होता है.
बहुत time लगता है. Beautiful. But thank you, Kartikey. Why did you choose us to host your podcast? Any reason?
I didn't. This was very again ikigai kind of a thing. I wanted to do a podcast only because my team wanted me to do a podcast. So I was not calling anyone. वो लोग बिजी हैं ऑपरेशंस करने में, तो दे वर नॉट कॉलिंग एनीवन. आपने मुझे बुलाया, मैंने कहा बिना मेहनत लगे किसी ने मुझे खुद ही बुला लिया, तो चल लेते हैं, लेट्स गिव इट अ ट्राई. बिकॉज पॉडकास्ट का अभी वो है ना कि इट्स अ गुड वे फॉर पीपल टू हियर स्टोरीज,
Yeah, yours.
यू नो.
That is.
तो मेरी टीम भी इसलिए चाह रही थी कि मैं भी अपनी स्टोरी बाहर लाऊं. दैट वाज एक्चुअली व्हाई वो मेमोर लिखा गया था.
अच्छा.
दैट वाज द फर्स्ट स्टेप ऑफ एक्चुअली
I want that.
सिटिंग एंड राइटिंग इट.
Please do send me that now.
I actually can. I can give it to you day after tomorrow.
Perfect. I would whenever. I mean, whenever you have time. But thank you, Kartikey. One thing which you would like to change about us or my team? Anything you want to say publicly to these nincompoops out here?
नहीं, they are all brilliant. Nothing to change. समोसे भी अच्छे थे. I'm very happy. No complaints whatsoever. Thank you for having me, and everybody was very helpful.
We will get associated soon. ये तो अब bookish हो गया, but we will get associated soon, and we will work together super
Good.
soon.
I hope I'm of some use to you.
Yeah, I hope. Now we will. So we have also started doing installations now, so I think we will have a future together.
Great.
So this.
I'll show you the next installation we do in Delhi.
Yeah.
I'll call you.
Please, I would
for
be
the
more
opening
than
or
happy.
something.
I would be more than happy. But thank you so much, Kartikey. It's been.
Thank you for having me.
You've been.
It was a great podcast.
You've actually.
Don't call me an inspiration.
No, it's
Find
good.
a better inspiration.
No, it's good. And I hope people who see the podcast will learn a lot about art and how to experience that entire life. I mean, everyone's life is different, guys, but it's what you make out of it. So God bless you, Kartikey.
Thank you
so much.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
And that's another episode of the Heartful Show, guys. I'm going to meet you next week with yet another podcast. But do tune in, do subscribe, and watch this entire podcast.